is Brian Myers from JC Off-Road, and I just been overhauled. You're listening to XJ Talk Show.
Hey, this is the XJ Talk Show pre-show. We'll be getting started here in the next 15 minutes or so, and just want to remind you that we're brought to you by the premier Jeep Cherokee website, xjtalk.com. But hey, we also do Wranglers and Grand Cherokees, everything except the 2014 Jeep Cherokee that we've been bashing mercilessly, easy for me to say, since it came out. Since we became, it was a thing of hatred and distaste. So anyway, Josh will be calling in here on Skype, and we'll be getting the a little bit of the pre-show chat going on about getting the show set up, and then we'll get the goodies, so to speak, going. Thanks for joining us, and if you're watching this on the recorded version on YouTube Live, thanks for watching. You can join us 10 p.m. Central Time every Thursday night. So that's at youtube.com/xjtalk. And, go over there and subscribe. We've got about 385 subscribers currently. And, I'm wondering who's going to be number 400. We're going to talk about that a little bit here tonight on the XJ Talk Show, episode 116, coming up in about 15 minutes. We never get started on time, so who knows? Love this song, Sweet Dream by Lamas, Lamass. Lamas? No, Lamas.
Sweet
Well, I see Josh is online, so he should be calling in shortly. We'll get this road on the show very soon. Once again, this is the pre-show. It's a good 15 minutes, sometimes 30, before we start recording the actual podcast. And if you're not aware, that's what this is all about, is we're recording the podcast every Thursday night at 10 p.m. And there was quite a few people that remembered the old days whenever the podcast was also live on Ustream. So several of them had requested that we do the live show. Again, we moved from Ustream with way too many commercials to this new YouTube venture, YouTube Live. And so far, it's worked out really well. So that's what we're doing here. The main thrust of this thing has always been the audio podcast that you can download on iTunes or listen to, stream on Stitcher. It's also available on Zune, or you can just go straight to xjtalk.com, listen to it, or download it directly from there. Hey, and that's Josh calling in. Thanks for calling the XJ Talk Show. What caller are you?
I'm caller number 9.
Let's see. I would have gone with 69 myself, but that's just me. I don't know if you, I know sometimes you don't look at the emails that I send you if I don't send them from my personal, anything that has my name on it. Did you see the one about the guy interested in doing the Wrangler segments?
Yes, I did. I just figured we'd talk about it versus just responding to you over email. So, yeah, that's really cool. I'd like to hear the backstory on that.
Yeah, he's a current podcaster, mainly mixed martial arts type thing, him and a friend of his. I've only listened to a portion, but big interest, I feel, in joining us with some segments, which I'm very happy to hear. That was a Twitter response. I've been sending out some pictures on Twitter and getting a lot of favorites and retweets and questions and comments. And I thought, I've been asking for some people to do the Wrangler segments here for a while, like on Facebook, on xjtalk.com, and thought I'd throw it out there, and boy, we got a big bite.
Yeah, sounds like it.
So I decided that there's two things that I have to do. Since we're doing all this big budget video stuff now, I'm wearing a shirt with a collar.
Oh, you're going to show me up now.
I'm going to try to look at the camera when I'm talking, and my wife added that I need to stop rubbing my nose so much.
Oh, do you have allergies? Hay fever?
No, it just itches, so I scratch it. It itches, I scratch. I'm a simple man.
Indeed.
So was the opener 40 uploaded? Because I just looked about 5 minutes ago and didn't see it. Just saw 39.
It might be there by now. I'm running a little behind. I've been dragging ass all day long because I got next to no sleep last night. So I am woefully behind schedule on a lot of things. But I did get my show notes updated, so I'm good to go there. The opener has been recorded and uploaded, so you should be seeing it any moment now.
I do have it, and I've got it on the board, so not a problem. Yeah, I saw in the xjtalk.com chat room that you had got 2 hours worth of sleep. I hope it was worth it.
No, it was just one of those nights where every half hour I was waking up, and it would take me another half hour, 45 minutes to get back to sleep, and I'd sleep for a half hour and I'd wake back up.
Checking on the Honda?
No, it wasn't anything like that. I can't contribute it to anything. It's just one of those nights where you got just a really crappy night's sleep, and I'm having to just push through. So I'm going to sleep like a log tonight, though.
Yeah. Hey, so this is kind of interesting. I saw Bleep Audrey Kidd, our interviewee from a couple of shows ago.
Yeah.
I don't know how smart this was. She posted on Facebook that if you're my friend, either in person or on Facebook, you should know I'm deathly afraid of snakes. Even if you mention snakes, I will get fearful and cry. And I commented on her post. Why that may not have been a good idea to post that.
No,
on Facebook.
If she has even a slightly bit of a practical joker within her circle, yeah, she's got a lot of hell coming her way, I think.
And her response was, "You may have been right."
Yes.
Oh man, I don't know. That's almost begging for it. You wouldn't do that with guys.
Is this Wrangler segment all but happening? I mean, is he going to start recording segments, or I mean, how much of a Jeep enthusiast is he? I mean, are we do we want to tease it before we hear what he's offering, or how do we want to put this?
I think so. And we don't know. I mean, I didn't know with you, and whenever you came on board, you were doing some segments. You were here every week, and it became a thing. And as we've always stated, and we'll let this guy know, that it's really open to anybody. So it doesn't just have to be from him. I mean, I would love to have several people helping out with the show. No, he was under the impression, in fact, he tweeted me or tweeted Wrangler Talk on Twitter today, which makes sense why it would be a tweet. Anyway, he tweeted me today saying, "Are we on for tonight?"
Oh.
So he was anxious to be on the show tonight. Oh. So I told him, I said, "Oh, I'm sorry, I just didn't explain it properly. I need to send you the email and give you an idea of what we're doing and what we're looking at, and the whole Dropbox thing, like we do with Steve, where Steve records it, puts it on Dropbox." And I told him there might be some, since we're doing this video thing now, there may be some video segments coming up if he's interested in doing that. We just have to keep in mind that it's an audio podcast, so we do need to make sure that we keep the audio entertainment, the audio audience entertained, as well as the video. So I guess the video would have to be kind of a secondary thing for the live viewers and the people that like watching 2 hours of video of two knuckleheads talking about Jeeps. So I did update the show notes. We have 3 voicemails and one from a new guy, or at least one that hasn't called in a while. And it's up to you on do we talk about do the talking about Jeep tips, or do we play the one from Steve, or do both?
Let's see. It is a new one. Okay.
Same. It's a subject that he's done before, but
right.
It's a new recording.
Death Wobble 2.0.
Yes.
I'll tell you what. Let's plan for Steve. If we've got time, we'll go ahead and honestly, the winching, extracting, recovering cars in snow part of things, we can kind of incorporate that into some chit chat a little bit. So maybe we'll just do it like that. I'll tell a couple stories, a couple of experiences, maybe give a couple of tips, and then we'll roll into Jeep tips. I guess that'll probably be a good segue.
Okay. We'll probably run out of time because you know how we are.
Yeah. We're already kind of getting started a little bit late tonight.
10:02, not too bad.
Nope, not too bad.
Are you streaming the show?
Yes.
Everything look okay? Sound okay?
Well, I'm not listening to it. I've got it muted, but I can unmute it for just a second here.
Sure, go ahead.
Oh, sounds fine.
Good.
Did you get the bugs worked out that you were messing around with last week?
No, I just using the separate piece of software that sends the video and audio stream to YouTube.
Ah, okay.
Too many things going on with work and everything else. Naps involved.
Yeah, it's been one of those weeks for me too.
So let's see. My recorder turned off. Can't tell the levels without the recorder on. Oh, so did you understand my explanation on the trend line? Trend line?
Yeah, kind of. I mean, I understand what it is. I guess I how it's calculated is kind of escaping me.
I don't know. Don't be honest with you. I'd have to look it up. I don't know if it's an average or if it's some sort of special calculation. Basically, it just kind of removes all the bumps.
It doesn't matter. I'm just, it's gearhead type stuff. I'm just kind of curious to see how that was done. But I mean, nonetheless, it's definitely definitely a cool trend. I like the upward slope.
the more vertical, the better. The more better.
Yeah, indeed.
The more exciting. Just like in off-roading. Man, I'm rubbing my nose a lot. I'll be switching to you. You'll have a blank stare on your face, and nobody will understand why we got the camera on you. Because I'm scratching my nose. Yeah. I'll switch back with my my finger bent over up my nose. So.
Yeah.
Not actually inserted, but also too going to be doing some timed tweets tonight to see if that helps bring people in, because it will. Actually, we've already had one about starting the live stream, and then we'll have some throughout the show that I've already typed in. I think we'll have 5 total during the show.
Oh, cool.
So they come out at whatever time I told them to tweet with a link to show. Okay. All right, well, let me check the level here.
All right.
Hey, this is Nikki G.
Hey guys, this is Kyle.
I want to do the gobble. I'm not going to do the gobble.
Just say no.
There's a bit of an echo on you. Anything different in your room?
No, not at all. But I can reconnect with you real quick if we want to try a different connection here.
Try it. Let's do that, because I know how you'll be if I don't say something to you.
Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah, because I'm not hearing it on my end. So, okay, calling you right back.
All right.
Okay, how is this sounding now?
Yeah, that sounds more like you. So it was Skype doing it.
Very good. Very good. Wait for my camera to figure out what it's doing there. There we go.
Yeah, it's funny whenever I turn on the light here, the light that I have set up, spotlight or whatever you call it, diffuse spotlight, and I come down here and sit down. I'm this big, colorful blob. The camera, the camera it has a hard time focusing with that much light. I guess it's not used to it. So it takes about 10 seconds for it to focus in. It's kind of cool looking because the background's in focus, but I'm not. I feel like I'm one of those Claritin D commercials.
Oh, jeez.
You know what I'm saying?
I know exactly what you're talking about.
It looks like that, except it's about twice as out of focus as the commercials.
Hey, I noticed real quick you changed the banner on the XJ Talk Show website.
Yes, I did.
Yeah, it looks pretty sharp.
We have it actually going out right now. You're looking at it, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. So, it was pretty interesting on Facebook, which pretty interesting conversation on Facebook because Amber wanted a white XJ.
Of course she did.
So I did one up in white, and then this other guy thought he'd be funny and say make the Cherokee pink and it'll be perfect.
Oh, jeez.
So I spent
a little bit of white.
I spent about 2 minutes, and I said, well, and I redid it where it was pink, hot pink, and I said, we're not here to judge. Here's your sign. He thought it was great. All right. This. No more fun. Onto the show.
Yes.
Wait a minute. That's not right.
And this just into the XJ Talk Show News Desk. Local governments everywhere declaring Valentine's Day Singles Awareness Day. For the full report, stay tuned till after the show.
Hey, stud. It's time for the XJ Talk Show. Now, here's my two favorite boys, Tony and Josh.
Hey, welcome to episode 116 of the XJ Talk Show. You know him, you love him. My co-host, Josh, Northwest 99 XJ. How's it going, Josh?
Not too shabby, Tony. Glad to be here and really looking forward to tonight's show.
As am I. I'm always looking forward. Boy, you know, I'm fancied up tonight. I got a shirt on with a collar. I see that you dressed up. That's great when you got the memo.
I'm wearing clothes. You can't ask for much more.
Well, we can see the shirt. And I'll take your word for the rest.
Yes. Yes, indeed.
So if you guys aren't aware, we do this show every Thursday, 10 p.m. Central Time, that is. God's Time, as I call it. And we're here on YouTube Live. You can join us by going to XJ Talk. I'm sorry. I've already messed it up. Let's start over. No. You can go to youtube.com/xjtalk and join in on the fun. And actually, we start about 15 minutes before showtime, a little pre-show. We'll keep going after the show, about 15, 20 minutes probably. So you get to see some of the inner workings, as Josh would say, as how the sausage is made.
Yeah, that's right. Yep, all kinds of good stuff. A little bit of joking, a little bit of fun, and well, you get a chance to know Tony and I a little bit better with the pre-show and the post-show type of chit-chat that we do.
And as you ought to know by now, but if you don't, this is the XJ Talk Show, a podcast about Jeep Cherokees, off-roading, and the tech that you need to get there and back. Easy for me to say. Well, we're here to promote the webs. I'm thinking to myself, I'm reading this great, and then I start thinking, what am I doing? Oh yeah, I'm reading. We're here to promote the web's most premier website of all that is Jeep Cherokee, xjtalk.com, the friendliest and most helpful Jeep site on the web. That would be the internet. So we at xjtalk.com encourage and answer all questions and concerns that the first-time XJ owners typically have without flaming or criticizing, all by giving you the best, most in-depth articles and write-ups for the repairs, modifications that take your average XJ to the next level. Now get ready. It's the XJ Talk Show. It starts right now.
First Week in Jeep.
Well, as I started off our comment section on our YouTube channel here, I'm not going to go this show without a little bit of Cherokee bashing. And I'm talking about the 2014 Cherokee, of course. Cannot bash the XJ. Gotta love the XJ. Well, the 2014 Cherokee will be nearly impossible to lift. That's right. Courtesy of Soulfish on JeepForum.com for sharing this information. In reply to an inquiry about the possibilities of lifting the new 2014 Jeep Cherokee, Rocky Road Outfitters replied, quote, long story short, it's not going to be possible to lift the new Cherokee. Long story long, the front end does not have an alignment adjustability. The only way to align the front is to loosen and slightly shift the cradle, which does not provide enough adjustment to lift the vehicle. In case you might think, well, hey, just build a new lower cross member or new lower control arm. Well, you could. It's possible with enough fabrication work, but to change the lower section of that, you're going to have to remove the entire front clip. Now, this is an aluminum subframe, which supports the entire front of the engine, radiator, and, well, everything in front of the front axles. To remove that control arm, that whole lower assembly would probably be a $1,000 mechanic job at the very least, and beyond the skills, of course, of most do-it-yourselfers. Therefore, we had to admit defeat and will not be producing a suspension lift for this Jeep. Really sucks. We're disappointed. End quote. So for all you people out there that may be turning a corner on liking or disliking the new KL, as its designator is, this may settle the debate once and for all. Thanks a lot, Jeep. So to date, the only aftermarket support for this Jeep specifically are WeatherTech floor mats and a MagnaFlow catback exhaust system. Ooh. Lots of good stuff there, let me tell you. Well, so we're going to keep an eye on that, and of course, I'll let you guys know if anything changes on that. And if anybody steps up to the plate and decides, hey, we're going to go ahead and make some suspension components for this thing, good luck. I actually got a chance to check out some of the first shots of the undercarriage of the new Cherokee. It ain't pretty. Let me just say that. And apparently, there's another company out there that's been agreeing with what we've been saying here on the XJ Talk Show for quite a while now. Consumer Reports is calling the new 2014 Jeep Cherokee half-baked. The new Jeep Cherokee falls short of the hype. Consumer Reports magazine has said on Tuesday, citing the sport utility vehicle for a choppy ride and clumsy handling. It's a contemporary design that had potential, but despite a few high points, overall we found it half-baked. Now, it has more than Consumer Reports has more than 8 million print and online subscribers, and obviously, well, the word is getting out. They say the Cherokee, quote, is an uneven package and the score's too low to be recommended. Consumer Reports added that the test Cherokee that they had, it was equipped with a 4-cylinder engine, and they had another one as well with a 6-cylinder engine. They favored the larger engine, saying the 4-cylinder was not only underpowered, but also very inefficient as far as fuel economy goes. The 9-speed transmission is unrefined, as they say, and sometimes even unresponsive. Consumer Reports said the success of the Cherokee, which replaces the Liberty in Jeep's lineup, is seen as critical to Chrysler's success. After all, Chrysler did invest $550 million in its Toledo, Ohio plant to produce the new vehicle. Is the future of the new Cherokee at risk? Well, one can only hope.
Well, I don't wish ill on anyone, and I'll go back to the same thing I say over and over again. Just change the name. Just don't call it it's like having this ugly child and somebody having this ugly child and naming it after your child. It's a great honor, but oh my God, please change the name. Can we call him Junior? How about a middle name? Anything.
I mean, there got to be another Marilyn Manson somewhere on the planet, and they're just hiding. They're in a closet somewhere.
So, anyway, I know some of you guys out there are a little sick and tired of us bashing the 2014 Jeep Cherokee. And, we want to make it. Yeah. you beat me to it, but we would love to make everybody happy, but come on, this is just something near and dear to our hearts. And I know from several of you, I've been hearing from, it's near and dear to your heart as well. So we're going to continue on this. And, although we don't do bashing on the xjtalk.com site, damn it, we're going to keep bashing the 2014 Jeep Cherokee till they change the name, or until that thing fades away into the distance.
I gotta say, if this Cherokee didn't make it so easy for us to bash it a little bit, well, we wouldn't do it. Honestly, if it was really hard for me to come up with this stuff every single week, I probably wouldn't be quite as adamant of doing it every single week. But really, I mean, there's just one story after another, and I have to pick and choose sometimes as to just how I'm going to bash the new Cherokee this week. So, this one just really stood out to me. When you get Consumer Reports involved in something like the failure of a Jeep Cherokee, and failure of a car, and specifically the Jeep Cherokee, the new one at least, I'm going to step up, and I'm going to go ahead and make sure that goes public at least here. Now, not everybody is familiar with, Consumer Reports publications or a member of their website, but this is one that really cannot go without mention. So I had to bring it to the attention of our listeners and the show and let you guys know that, the biggest review company on the planet is saying the new 2014 Cherokee is a POS. So, hey, if everybody usually really, really values Consumer Reports opinion, and I'm going to take it for their word. So, like I said, they have been agreeing with us what we've been saying all along. So now it's official.
Well, I find it really interesting about there's no way you can lift this thing. I mean, my gosh, there's been some comparisons made to me by some of our British friends, Jeep Cherokee owners and lovers across the pond, that what they wondered what we would be thinking if we were doing this podcast in 1984 or 3. Whenever there was the switch between the old Cherokee, which I'm not familiar with the body style name. What was it? The Wagoneer? Was it the Wagoneer that was the full size?
Well, there was a Cherokee Chief, and it was based
That's right.
kind of on the Wagoneer platform. It was a full size Jeep.
Yes. So there was a Cherokee Chief, and then came out the Cherokee that in '84 that we love. So I think they were saying, would we be bashing this 84 through 2001 Cherokee because it was different from the Cherokee Chief? And we probably would, but
there's a good chance. Yeah. There is a good chance. Honestly, yeah.
And that's a good argument because, it's something that we know and something that we love. So obviously we're going to, try to protect that thing that we like. So if it was the Cherokee Chief, I'm sure we'd be going, oh, what's this thing? Look how big it is. I can't get 2 people in that thing. It's 2 big boys. You can't fit in that thing. What's wrong with them? What's Jeep thinking? But I'll tell you this, the story that you just said about lifting it. Well, you could lift the Jeep Cherokee Chief and you can lift the Jeep Cherokee, but not the 2014.
Look at it this way. You've been able to lift every Cherokee ever made until now.
Well, we'll see what happens, but it sounds like to me there's a lot of stuff that has to go on before you would be able to do that. But somebody will do it. Mark my words. If they can put a solid axle on that bug that they called a Liberty, they can do it to this thing too.
Yeah, I've seen some Patriot and some Liberty lift kits coming out nowadays, and now both of those models have been out for quite a long time, and it's taken a little while for the aftermarket to really step up and start offering more and more support out there for as far as lift kits and suspension upgrades and whatnot. So there's a chance that something will happen. Now, it might not happen on the first generation. Jeep may get wind of all this and be like, yeah, well, maybe we screwed up. Let's go back to the drawing board. Let's, completely revamp the undercarriage and see if we can't make this a little bit more aftermarket friendly.
Right.
Which would be a very good idea, Jeep. But whether or not that's going to happen, I don't know. So if they continue with the current design and just make subtle changes, chances are the aftermarket support is not going to follow for quite some time, providing, of course, the model even lasts.
Well, I wonder how much of it is, do we want to invest a lot of R&D into something on a first-year vehicle, like you mentioned? I mean, I don't think that they would yank it after a year, but it's always possible.
I'm having a hard time because I didn't get a whole lot of sleep last night, recalling if there ever in automotive history has been a one-hit wonder where it came out for a single year, a model came out for a single year and then went away. Off the top of my head, I can't recall anything that only came out for a single year. So
it was.
Would this be a first?
I do remember one.
Oh,
Firefly.
Well, that was a movie.
No, it's actually a series that got canceled.
Oh, well, that too. Yeah.
I'm just trying to make some of the listeners moan. Oh, that's not fair. It's a joke.
Yes. So I don't know if this is if this is the end of the Cherokee. There's just been so much negativity around the model. Of course, we're here to help. But
of course,
whether or not this is doing any damage or not, whether the reputation so far of this new Cherokee is really going to be the end of this model, I don't know. I highly doubt that this will be the first car that has ever made a 1 year offering and then gone away. Chances are Jeep is going to try and salvage this. They're going to give it one more shot and maybe even another one after that. I'm guessing 2 or 3 years. If they don't get it right by then say sayonara.
Well, like you said, $500 million. They're going to put a lot of money into this. They already have. They're going to be putting a lot more, and it costs a lot of money anytime they go start making new parts. At least till the 3D printers get in full force.
Yeah. Well, if you remember last I think it was last episode, maybe it was episode 114. I had mentioned that the global sales of the Wrangler are skyrocketing, and that Jeep is talking about opening up another plant just for U.S. sales alone because of the increase in Wrangler sales over the last couple of years. So if Cherokee doesn't make it, I could very easily see that Chrysler Corporation could throw another cool million at this plant to do some retooling to start making Wranglers there because the Cherokees aren't selling or they decide to cancel the model. I don't know. Obviously they're not just going to shut a $550 million facility down. It's going to be retooled and revamped to make a new line.
Yeah, of course. And I don't really want to have Jeep have financial difficulties. And I don't think they will as long as they keep making the Wrangler. And certainly it's not my taste, but the Grand Cherokee seems to be a very nice vehicle. So I think with those two platforms, they should be going well into the future. I also wonder, too, how many Wrangler sales are being driven by the possibility, the rumor of them going to IFS. Because you can always put a solid axle under the 2015 Wrangler, but good Lord, it'd be a lot cheaper to get a 2014 and not have to do that.
That's a really good point. I remember a sales technique where you introduce the fear of loss.
Yes.
And basically you're like, hey, you can get this, but it's going away real soon, so this might be your last chance type of thing. And this might be a little bit of that. hey, we're going to threaten that the Wrangler is going to go through a massive change, unlike anything that the line has ever seen before, and that the diehard Jeepers are going to have a problem with.
Right.
So what's that going to do? Well, everybody who has ever wanted a Wrangler or is looking to buy one is not going to wait any longer. They're going to go out and get the last one that they can that still has the drivetrain that everybody is looking for. So that there might be some marketing strategies here. I don't know. You definitely raise a good point with that.
Yeah, I'm sure somebody says, well, we're going to do it anyway, but dropping this bomb now dropping this rumor now shouldn't hurt things. So, I mean, certainly people aren't going to go, oh, well, they're changing the Wrangler, so I'm going to stop buying it. I was going to wait till 2015 to get one, but I think I'm going to get a 2014. Of course, there's going to be Wrangler. They've been making the JKs and the TJs and the YJs for almost ever. And there's going to be a Wrangler with a solid axle in the front for the next 30 years at least, as long as it doesn't get outlawed, which don't laugh. That's always a possibility. And so, well, look at the things that are going on, anyway. So I'm not personally concerned. I wasn't going to go spend 40, 50K for a vehicle that I was going to take off-road. I've got a Jeep Cherokee. If I was going to buy another vehicle to take off-road, it'd be a TJ, a YJ, or another XJ. So I'm covered. They made nearly 3 million XJs. So, no worries here. I just think it's a shame.
Speaking of XJs, got a couple guys in my immediate circle who are in the market for Cherokees. In fact, and I'm talking about XJs. So I've got a friend of a good friend of 92 War Wagon. He's a user on xjtalk.com, and I've actually mentioned him a couple times here in the podcast. We had just done a 4.5-inch rough country long arm kit on his Jeep here recently. His buddy is looking to get a Cherokee. We took him out wheeling a few weeks back, and he actually had a riot, just a grand old time.
Oh, that's great.
And so much so that he wants to get a Cherokee himself. So he's been shopping around a little bit, and another buddy of mine who's a NAXJA member lives right down the way from me. In fact, I've wheeled with him several times. His Cherokee, he had a 92 or 93 two-door, or maybe it was 94 two-door, that he ended up rolling at one point in time. Very interesting story there. I'm not going to get into it now. But he ended up chopping the back of it, kind of making it more like a truggy kind of. Did a lot of work to it, a lot of fabrication work to it. A little rough around the edges, but honestly, it's a very nice Cherokee. Problem is he's having some really nasty electrical, fuel, and ignition issues. I've helped him out as much as I can, and he's got a ghost in the machine, and we cannot for the life of us figure this thing out. So he's gotten so frustrated at this point that he's going to scrap the Cherokee that he has now and possibly step into a late model. But he's been searching around for a new Cherokee, thinking about it somewhere around the $2,500 range to give him a little bit of room to swap over the components that he has and maybe even step into a long arm upgrade kit from like Rough Country or possibly even Ironman Andy. So we'll see what happens with that. It's going to be very interesting, but it's kind of cool that they're both coming to me for advice, because, hey, what do you think about this one? So I'm getting, 5 or 6 Craigslist links every day through my phone. Hey, can you check this one out for me? So, but it's very neat that, because it's been a long time since I've been Cherokee shopping. So this is kind of throwing me in the middle of it. It's kind of neat seeing what's out there again and what people are selling and what people have been doing to Cherokees and stuff lately. Obviously, I'm very much focused on my own project, but I'm always happy and willing to help other people either step up and get a new project or help them with the one they have right now.
Well, it's like xjtalk.com. Somebody will come on and they're interested in getting a Cherokee, and they'll ask us our advice. And I often respond with, hey, no problem. We love spending other people's money. So it's it's kind of like the fun of buying something without actually having to spend it. And I don't think we shove people the wrong way. I'll tell you what I say. I always say get a 97 plus. Actually, a 90. Personally, 98, 99 is what I like the best. And you want to make sure it doesn't have an ABS system, because if it has an ABS system on it, that means you have a Dana 35 rear end, which is not a very strong rear end. It's great if you're just going to be on the road, but if you're taking it off road, it's an iffy situation. It's a ticking time bomb. It may go off at any time. It may not. So if it has ABS, you definitely have a Dana 35 on it. If it doesn't, it could be either a Dana 35 or a Chrysler 8.25. And the 97 plus Chrysler 8.25s are 27 splines. And
29 spline on the newer ones, yeah.
Yeah, you're correct. 29 splines, and it is damn near as strong as a Dana 44 rear. So, and I know I'll get some hate mail about that, but that's what I've seen consistently from a multitude of people. And I personally put 456 gears in my Chrysler 8.25, and there's going to be an ARB air locker going into it soon, so I trust it.
And Eric Zappi, author of the Cherokee Builder's Guide, even trusted. He ran 35s, I believe, on his 8.25 for a long time. He did a lot of measurements and math and determined that the 29 spline Chrysler 8.25 is roughly about 85 to 90% as strong as a Dana 44. So, I mean, those are pretty good numbers. And obviously, this guy is a gentleman who knows what he's talking about. If you guys aren't familiar with him, please go check out his book. He definitely knows what he's talking about. It's an awesome publication. But I definitely trust his, what he has put in print. He puts his name behind it. I'm going to stand behind it too.
Yeah. Well, I've made the personal choice because I could have done the Dana 44 search, and actually I do have a Craigslist search going for a Dana 44 front, but I'm not too sure I would get it. Just it really depends on the price. It's like one of those window shopping deals. Hey, speaking of xjtalk.com, I want to encourage you guys to be one of our new YouTube subscribers. We're up to 385 subscribers now, and I'm wondering who's going to be number 400.
Boy, those numbers just keep jumping every single week. That's awesome. We're going to have to do something, a little pomp and circumstance or something for that 400th. Maybe get them on the show and just kind of, hey, who are you? Where are you from? And what are you driving? That sort of thing. If nothing else. So yeah, almost to 400. That's pretty cool. Well, we definitely have a few more here. We'd like to go ahead and give these people a shout out and give them thanks for subscribing and taking the time to head over to YouTube and finding XJ Talk on YouTube and subscribing. And it is easy. And of course it's free. And we highly encourage you guys to do that. And of course, encourage a friend to do the same. So our first on the list is Texas Redneck. So thanks for being a new subscriber.
And Thunderhead 7, thank you.
We've got Shim XJ. That's a pretty cool name. So thanks again for that guy joining up.
He is in the East, Japan, I believe. And
oh, wow.
He was a member on XJ Talk back when we had the free Google changing of the languages. So he was actually able to read the posts in, I believe it was Japanese. So.
Way cool.
Yeah, I was especially happy to see his name there on the list. And, of course, Cherokee Guy 19. Thank you very much for subscribing on our youtube.com/xjtalk channel. And who's going to be number 400? Is it going to be you?
Well, Tony, I don't know about you, but we've had some very interesting weather here recently, and we had some snow and ice come through the Northwest here last Thursday, Friday. Well, I mentioned last Thursday, it took me about 5.5 hours to get home. The last show, episode 115, we were deep into some snow. It had taken me the longest time I think I have ever spent getting from work to home. It was very interesting. Saw a lot of very neat stuff as I was driving my Honda home, dodging semis, stopping in the middle of the freeway to put their chains on, and having to stop every 15 or 20 minutes and de-ice my windshield wipers. It was a good time. Honestly, I love driving in the snow. I love the snow. I'm very much at home at it. It's a lot of fun. It's pretty, of course, but yeah, things took a turn for the worst, and we got another hit that came in, I think Friday night and through Friday night. And then Saturday morning, we got some more snow, and then it turned to ice rain Saturday night. And it did give us a nice little sheet of ice all over everything Sunday. And it stuck around through about Monday morning, and then things started to warm up. But through Friday night and Saturday, I went around and myself and a couple other Cherokee owners here locally, we went cruising around the local area and a couple little towns around here, just kind of making some loops, driving around and seeing if we can't help some people out. There's a lot of people around here, as well, Tony, you've experienced in one of your recent YouTube videos you posted. You get a little bit of inclement weather and people lose their frickin' mind. They forget how to drive. And it's no exception here. It happens just about everywhere, I'm sure. And so we went around and, ended up helping out a couple people. There's a few people that were having a hard time getting in or out of driveways. That seemed to be the biggest thing. And it was primarily cars, of course. There was one full-size Dodge pickup that I had to help out in a parking lot. He wasn't going anywhere. It was like a flatbed conversion of a Dodge 1500. And he was trying to get chains on, couldn't figure it out, was sitting there spinning his tires. I don't think he had the right equipment or the right size chains, or his kit wasn't complete. I don't know. But I was more than happy to help him out and get him back on his way. I helped out over the course of about 3 days, I think a good couple dozen people, giving them a shove, pulling them out, getting them tugged into a position where they could park their car and spend the night and wait till the snow started to melt, or they could, get a set of chains or something like that. But it was honestly, it gives me a kind of a warm, fuzzy feeling, being able to go out there and help people that are less fortunate and don't have the ability to own an XJ.
Well said. Well, I guess it's too soon, but damn it, man, you got to put that camera into use in future winters whenever you're pulling out a Trailhawk 2014 Cherokee.
Oh, believe me, I might just call the news station. I'm going to make an event out of it.
I don't want to give it away too much, but it's funny. We have in one of our voicemails, we have some 2014 Jeep Cherokee love. I'll leave it at that.
Well, I've been seeing on some of the other Jeep sites around the web that there are new Cherokee. There are KL threads that are popping up now. And there's a couple. There's obviously one that I think four-wheel drive hardware has taken on, and they're the ones who on Jeep Forum, who I was getting the information from on one of the stories in This Week in Jeep, and they are bound and determined to buy any and every aftermarket item as it is released and slap it on this thing in the hopes of doing a buildup of a new Cherokee. And it's very interesting because, there is a lot of traffic. There's a lot of people that are interested in the new Cherokee. And it's both negative and positive. It's funny. I'm seeing a good 50-50 split of people that hate the new Cherokee and the people that hate the new Cherokee. See what I did there? Yeah.
I did. I didn't realize it.
That was my attempt at a bad joke.
I had to process it. Wait a minute. He said the same thing twice. Oh, it's humor. I was actually, it is funny, but you caught me while I was looking at the show notes, thinking ahead. These 3 screens of awesomeness and all the things I got to click. I'm telling you, Josh, I need another screen because I got things overlaying on top of things. And
I've got 2, and it's not enough. So I feel your pain. But you know what, Tony? All this snow and ice, and pulling people around and winching and stuff like that. I did a lot of driving around in the snow and ice, and of course, you get buses and semi trucks and everything. They put on the big chains and they drive around, and it creates this washboard effect in the snow. And it's a very rough drive when you get that hard pack, that ice type of snow that really freezes, and it makes it for a very rough ride, regardless of the suspension system that you have. And even in my Cherokee, I aired down just a little bit. We're driving around, and you get into some of those chain ruts, and it's just, and it takes a toll. I mean, you got to slow down a little bit, regardless of how much you want to go out and rally around. You got to slow down a little bit and try and get out of the ruts and into some of the more fresh snow versus driving in that. Well, driving around all this washboard, hard pack ice and snow, I discovered a new rattle in my front end, and I'm fairly certain that through the course of this last week or so, driving around all the snow and ice, or perhaps my last couple wheeling trips, in either case, I've determined that I'm about ready for some new ball joints. Now, it's one of the last things that I have yet to do on that Dana 30 front end. I've obviously upgraded the steering. I got 1 ton over the knuckle steering now. Locker in the front, larger U-joints in the axle shafts. I've done a lot of things outside of sleeving and chromoly to the front end of that thing. But the last thing that I think is on the list is going to be the ball joints. So, I'm going to be doing those here very soon. I've got the tools to do it. I'm just gonna have to bite the bullet and spend what is it, $250 or so for a set of both upper and lower Moog heavy duty ball joints to repair the front end. It's not critical. It's not like the front end is banging around or anything, but it's definitely a new rattle that I picked up at some point over the last few weeks, and something that's going to have to get taken care of.
Yeah, I've kind of been thinking about doing the same thing. I've actually priced out the press and all the goodies necessary at Amazon.com. And if you guys aren't familiar, I'll remind you that, if you're not familiar, I won't be reminding you. I'll be telling you. So I'll remind those that are familiar, and I'll tell those that aren't. Okay, here we go. So anyway, if you're not familiar, we have a deal with Amazon.com, a little banner ad on our xjtalk.com or xjtalkshow.com. You click on that Amazon banner. It takes you to Amazon. Anything that you purchase, we get anywhere from 4 to 6% of the sale. Doesn't cost you a thing. Helps you support the show and the great forum, xjtalk.com. So anyway, I've priced out that stuff too. Now, fellow admin and personal friend Matt over at xjtalk.com has told me that you don't have to change them if you lift up the front of the vehicle and take that wheel and move it, up in and out at the bottom and the top. If there's no wiggle there, don't got to change them. How's yours? Have you tried that yet?
So that is the typical test. And you can determine whether or not you have a bad wheel bearing by grabbing your tire at 3 and 6 and kind of giving it a wiggle. You grab the wheel at 6 and 12 and give it a wiggle. And if you have play, that's definitely a sign of a bad ball joint. Here's the thing though, is I've been hearing a lot of stories lately of guys who are swapping out their ball joints. They do a lift, they change some components on the front end or something like that. And they take the Cherokee in to have it aligned. And the alignment shop comes back and says, we got it close, but it keeps bouncing back and forth in and out of spec.
Right.
And we determined that it's the ball joints that have gone bad. And on a 92 War Wagon, his 92 Jeep, had it up in the air, grabbed the wheel, 12 and 6, not a single bit of movement.
Right.
You get in there with a pry bar though, and you get a little bit more leverage on there. And sure enough, you get a little bit of play. So oftentimes it may not be enough just with the force that you can apply. And obviously, the guy down the street may be stronger than I am. I might be stronger than you are, who knows? So you may not have enough just physical strength to really put enough force on through the tire. And obviously you want to do this with the wheel and tire on, because as you get that expanse there, you open up your arms a little bit.
Yeah, more
you get
leverage.
More leverage on that, exactly. So with that, even with that, it may not be enough, and so you get in there with a bit of a pry bar. You start adding a little bit more force, and sure enough, that's when that play comes out. You wouldn't have otherwise seen it. So oftentimes that grabbing the tire and the wheel and giving a wiggle isn't enough to determine whether or not you have a bad ball joint. Sometimes it takes a little bit more force.
Well, it probably would get you back home before you had to change it, but I'm gonna stick with the wiggle test for now. And but I may start buying up some stuff at Amazon.com just to have it on standby, so to speak. It seems like those things kind of come up and bite me in the ass at the worst possible moment. So having the parts instead of having to wait for them to be delivered, even though I got Amazon Prime and it's 2 days. I don't know about you, Josh, but I do know about you. You'd rather drive the Honda than the Cherokee. So I was going to say, I don't know about you, but I don't like going to work in something that isn't my Cherokee.
Yeah, I believe me, I wish I could drive the Cherokee every single day. It's a lot of fun to drive. I miss it, but honestly, it's just not very fuel economic. But no, Amazon, I'm looking at the page right now. Amazon does have all sorts of ball joints for the Cherokees. Everything from Moog to AC Delco to Alloy USA even. So they have sets even for upper and lower. I just saw right now an Alloy USA upper and lower ball joint kit for $118. And that's times 2. That's a 4-piece. So that's both sides, passenger and driver, upper and lower Alloy USA upper or ball joint kit for $118. And of course qualifies for free shipping. So that's very good. Now Moog is obviously one of the best brands that you can go with. I don't know about the Alloy USA. I haven't heard of too many people running those. The Moog is really the ones that people seem to be going after the most. So whether or not I'm going to go with those or another option, I don't know. I'm going to have to do a little bit of research and figure out really what is the best option.
I think I'd have a look at those Alloy USAs. I know that they make some nice drive shafts and some other aftermarket parts for axles. I've got some seals. You probably remember those aluminum seals that go in the end of the Dana 30 tubes. Very, very nicely made. I think they were way overpriced. But
for what you get, a little bit overpriced.
Yeah, but I mean they're very nice and very nicely done. So I mean you never see them. You have to point them out to somebody. Hey, you want to see them? Let me turn the steering wheel, get a flashlight, and well it's too dirty, you can't see it. But they're there and they're great. So well they're not to be made to be looked at, but they're so pretty. It'd be nice to be able to see them. Now with mine, I didn't get the red ones. They didn't have the red ones available. Damn it, I wanted them. But I had to change. This is back a couple of years ago when I had to change out the wheel bearing assembly when I had to get the tow home because that one was so bad.
I remember that video. Seeing that video, that was a pretty sketchy video.
Oh yeah, and so anyway, since I was ordering the wheel bearing assemblies from the Timken wheel bearing assemblies from Amazon, I thought, hey, maybe I'll get these tube Alloy USA tube seals and do them both at the same time. So that worked out. They look very nice, and I don't have to worry about getting any trash or crap in my tube. So looking forward to that.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, Alloy USA, they do make gear sets. It's a very common choice. The people who are re-gearing, Alloy USA is a brand that you'll find in a lot of Cherokee's differentials. So I'm going to have to see how many reviews I can get on these things. At that price, I mean, that's about half of what I was expecting to spend. So at that price, I just may go with these regardless. So we'll see.
No, I mean, you're doing a lot of work there, so I would check it out. I wouldn't just go with them. And I mentioned that because I'm a Moog kind of guy too, but I've been hearing a lot about how Moog parts quality is going down, that they're being made overseas. Now, that could always be started by somebody that's a competitor. So
yeah, of course.
So I'm not sure what it is. I maybe just be repeating something that I've heard that isn't true. So check it out for yourself. But if I'm going to go through that much trouble to take those things out, I'd like to get another 150,000 miles out of whatever I put in. More would be better.
Yes, indeed. And of course, they got to hold up to the abuse that, a guy like me is going to put on it in my kind of wheeling.
Yeah, you definitely do. And I'm hoping to abuse mine here in the near future.
Very good.
Got a tip? We do. It's time for Jeep Tips.
Is it not time for Jeep Tips?
I was going to say. Hopefully Steve had wasn't having technical difficulties.
No. In the pre-show, we discussed we were going to do the talking, and then if we had time, we would play Steve's thing. Okay.
Sorry. I figured we'd go with the Steve Wells. Okay, so
I can go with it and just edit this part out.
No, well, it's all right here. Just a little bit of technical difficulties, folks. So Tony and I had a little miscommunication during our pre-show here. So during this last week or so of inclement weather, I discussed that I had the opportunity to help out a lot of people and get them unstuck and get them back on their way and get back to loved ones and stuff. Winching and extracting, covering cars and stuff in snow is oftentimes very risky unto itself. Not only are you putting yourself at risk, by getting out that winch cable or getting out a tow strap. Obviously, those things could break at any time. You obviously want to take a look at your winch cable or your tow strap, inspect them for any kind of damage, and obviously not use them if you see fraying or cuts or anything like that. But when you're in the situation of having to winch out a car, for instance, there was one that was a fairly newer model BMW. It's like a 3 series, like an M3. This guy was out driving around in the snow. This lowered, basically, BMW had no business being out there with, these high performance, low profile street tires. He wasn't really going anywhere. He had managed to keep momentum enough to kind of get him around, but once he had to slow down to go into a driveway, found himself very much stuck. And it happened right in front of me, so I was like, "Hey, you need some help? Yeah, can you pull me out?" So yeah, okay. So I'm looking around for a tow hook or something, and a lot of the import cars will have some degree of a tow hook on them, something that a wrecker
it snows in Europe, and so yeah, it makes sense that they'd actually run into this problem.
Yeah. So unfortunately, this BMW did not have any accessible tow hook that I could find, and believe me, I crawled around hands and knees in the snow looking for somewhere I could hook up to this guy. Couldn't find one off the bat, so I was like, hey, come on, let's get a few guys here, let's try and give him a push. I mean, obviously, you got to have some degree of traction if you're going to try and push a car through the snow. This one wasn't going anywhere. Nothing but tire spin. So I had no choice but to hook up to him. And the best way to do that for a car like that, when you don't have the ability to get onto a tow hook, or there's no tow hook available, is to grab at least something in the suspension that is going to be strong enough. And I wouldn't wrap it around a spring or a strut, anything like that.
Right.
Obviously, there's too much motion in that. The one thing that was accessible that I wasn't worried about if I had to give him a little bit of a jerk was the sway bar. And on the BMW, the sway bar, there's a very short section between where it mounts on the subframe of the car and where it mounts on on part of the suspension. And I wrapped a tow strap around that. I didn't want to get my cable in there because, well, obviously I didn't want to, have my cable rubbing up against his bumper or anything like that. The tow strap is obviously a lot softer, a little bit more forgiving. So the tow strap went around the sway bar, looped that around, and then brought it back around to where both eyelets were facing my winch hook, and hooked those on and just gave him a very slow, even tug. And I didn't want to have to jerk him. And luckily, in this case, I didn't. I just was able to very slowly winch him out. And the preventing that jerking action is going to save not only your own rig, but also your recovery equipment, and of course, the vehicle that you're pulling out. And here's why I'm stressing the importance on that, is because there's a lot of people out there that can get very sue happy very quick. And if you are not paying attention to what you're hooking onto, I'll just wrap it around the bumper here real quick. It's not going to take much. We'll just go ahead and pull you out real quick. And you give it a little bit of a jerk, and all of a sudden, bam, the bumper comes flying off of his car. And guess who's calling the insurance company and potentially the police to get involved with this? And obviously not the way you want to end that situation. So really pay attention to what you're hooking up to. Most of the cars that I pulled out over the last weekend or so were all via tow hooks. I managed to get my winch cable onto a tow hook on the back of the vehicle and just tug them to a point of where they were no longer stuck, or where they could find some pavement underneath the snow, get them back on their way, or tow them into a parking space where they could leave their car. Without the ability to get to a tow hook on the vehicle, you have to look for a good solid anchor point. And if you're towing from the back, well, that might be something along the lines of an A-arm, might be a sway bar, like for instance on the front of that BMW that I had to pull out. So just make sure that it's not something that can easily come loose on the vehicle, like a spring or a shock or a strut, something like that. You definitely don't want to be pulling on. Something like a sway bar or an A-arm or something like that is something a little bit more solidly anchored to the vehicle itself, that in the worst case scenario, if you had to have some slack in that line and give them a good yank, that when that tension is taken up in the line, that you're not going to be pulling parts off of their car.
Yeah.
So obviously, that if there's a lot of tension and that part comes flying off, it could come through your windshield. If you're out of the vehicle or there's bystanders around, they can get hurt. Obviously, winch cable snapping or a tow strap snapping, there's going to be a lot of kinetic energy there that's built up. That energy's got to go somewhere, and that you don't want a part or a cable or a strap or something going out and flying into somebody. Yeah. So just be very careful, especially there's a lot of weather that's hitting the south and the east right now that people are, well, it's so bad right now, people shouldn't really be going out to begin with. But if you're out there and you're helping folks out, just please take a few minutes, really take a little survey of what you're dealing with here, instead of just hooking up to the first thing that you see. But make sure, if you can find one, the tow hook on a vehicle is the best bet.
No.
And oftentimes all it is just a little loop of metal underneath the trunk of
was
the back.
I was just getting ready to ask that when you said tow hook. There may be people aware of it. I haven't had to tow anybody out in snow and ice because it didn't happen that often here. But a tow hook would be a tow point, any kind of metal circle that it's designed to. You can pretty much tell what it is. You can tell that it's designed to hook onto. And I know I've seen some on the rear of cars. I don't think I've ever noticed one on the front, though. But there again, I haven't done a lot of towing of vehicles. One other thing I wanted to add was as far as hooking up now this might seem a little lawyerish to you guys, but for liability protection, I'm not going to hook up my winch to the vehicle. I'm going to give them a tree saver or a tow strap and tell them to hook it up. I thought it was awful nice of you to be crawling around underneath that vehicle. I'm not the one that's stuck. They are. So I'm going to advise them, but they're going to be the one doing it because they are going to be the one doing the liability. And furthermore, I'd pull out your handy dandy smartphone and take a picture of them doing it. So if there's any question, whenever it comes time, when something comes off, that it's going to be, well, look, this guy hooked it up. I was helping him. I was being a good Samaritan. And now he's trying to get money out of me for something that he screwed up.
Yeah, you raise a good point, Tony. We can file that one under the CYA category, or cover your ass. And here's the thing, though, is that I wouldn't just hand somebody a tow strap or a winch cable and be like, okay, find it. Go find the tow hook or something like that. A lot of people are just plain and simply not familiar with their car. You hand them a hook, a D-ring shackle, or a tree saver, or a tow strap, something like that. They're not going to know what to do with it. And honestly, in a couple cases that I've ran into, the tow strap wouldn't have fit through the tow hook of the vehicle, and so I would have had to have used a D-ring shackle, or I would have had to have just hooked up my winch cable. And honestly, going up to the front of the vehicle, releasing the clutch on the winch, and just free spooling that cable out. It's fast. It's snowing. It might be ice raining. Who knows what kind of weather conditions are out there. You may be in the middle of traffic or the street, something like that. You may be blocking an intersection. Sometimes time might be of the essence. Now, obviously, haste makes waste, and could potentially cause damage or worse, injury. Well, so there is a fine balance you got to find in there. But you raise a good point, Tony, because if you do just you have to kind of know what you're doing. And if you're dealing with somebody who doesn't really know their car, who has no mechanical inclinations whatsoever, they may not be savvy enough. And even with some coaching, you may have to get down there and do it yourself.
This isn't a game of hide and seek. Wherever you go, here's my expensive winch cable, and do with it what you will. I'm going to turn my back, and I'm going to count. And I'm going to count to 50, and then when I'm done, I'm looking for you. No, it's not that. It's like, look, there's liability issues with me doing this. I'm happy to advise you on where I would hook it up, but ultimately it's your decision, yada, yada, yada. I know it sounds very weenie, but the alternative is keeping your ass at home and letting these people sit out there. And I'll add to this, because I'm an IT professional. When you involve the person in the problem they create, they think twice about doing it again.
Yeah, you definitely raise a good point there. That's very good advice. Now, I got to say that there was a Mazda 3, a fairly newer one. I'm going to say it was probably less than 5 or 6 years old. Mazda 3 that I ended up hooking up to, and the tow hook was not readily visible. I had to do some searching. It was on the back of the vehicle, passenger side, just under the trunk, and there was some sort of a plastic splash guard under shield, between the bumper and the rear of the vehicle, and there was just 2 small holes that gave you access to where the tow hook was, and it was through that I was able to get my winch cable up onto the hook that protruded down below that. And if it wasn't for that, honestly, if the snow had been any deeper. And this was, that was the first car that I ended up pulling out Friday evening on my way home from work. I was in my neighborhood, in fact, and I see this kid, and he was a kid. I mean, the kid couldn't have been a day over 20 years old. And he's just sitting there spinning his tires and just completely stuck. tennis shoes, sweats, and a T-shirt. Not a coat to be found. Okay. Obviously, you're not too bright. So here, let me go ahead and help you out.
Hey, that's the way I dress in that weather. Come on.
But I was wearing shorts. What are you talking about? But
and Crocs.
No, so I mean, sometimes it's not readily visible. You got to go searching for it. Obviously, it's to make the lines cleaner on the car, or protect it from going over speed bumps. Who knows? But don't give up if you don't see a big hook hanging down below it right away. Chances are it's just tucked up underneath a trim panel or something.
Yeah, and it makes it hard, especially if they're in mud. I have pulled people out of mud and in grass and stuff, and that can be really nasty work. I think the snow and ice would be preferable, but having not had much of experience in that, you probably do get very wet and cold trying to dig around and find stuff. And I would imagine there's even a possibility of the tow point being covered in ice, where you got to chip it away so that you can get something in there.
Yeah, luckily this on that Mazda car, it was early enough in this whole weather pattern going on. There was only a few inches of, it was probably about 4 inches of snow on the ground, which is, I saw you guys over in the Midwest and the East Coast are being like, 4 inches, we get that during lunch, So, but out here it's kind of a big deal. The last big snowstorm we got was in 2008. So obviously this kid hadn't even, I think he was probably still in training wheels by the last time we got a snowstorm. So, there's a lot of people out there on the roads that, at least out here, when you're in an area that doesn't get snow very often, and the snow falls, there's a lot of people that are going to be caught. They're going to be trapped. They're going to be found unprepared. And us Cherokee owners, well, a lot of us are way more prepared than the average person on the road, and we're in a position to help. You just got to use a little bit of caution, a little bit of common sense, and make sure you cover your ass when you're out there helping people.
Absolutely, and it's a lot of fun to help somebody. Just don't be a victim of your own help is all I'm telling you. And if it's an older lady, too bad. I'm just going to help her and take the risk. If it's some kid or somebody that has the nice wide tires that are sitting at a 45-degree angle and they really, really shouldn't have been out there, I'll help them, but, and I'll be nice, but, they're going to be helping me out a bit, I believe. Because,
what, Tony, through the whole process, I made a whopping $6.
I was going to ask about that. I was going to ask if anybody offered to pay. I hear a lot of people saying they won't accept it.
I wasn't out there asking. You'd be like, hey, I'll help you out, but how much money you got?
Little something, yeah.
I was very courteous throughout the whole thing. Ask them, hey, do you need help? Yeah, okay. Well, here, this is what we can do. We can try giving you a push. We can try rocking you back and forth a little bit. If all else fails, I'm going to have to hook up to you. I just want to let you know what all that involves, and if you're prepared for that. And it's yeah. So at that point, you get them. Yeah, exactly. I don't want to be here anymore.
I just want to go home.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you get them unstuck, and of course, everybody was just eternally grateful. Oh, thank you so much. Oh, you hadn't come along. I don't know how long I would have been here. I don't know what I would have done. All that stuff, and the gratification really is what makes it all worthwhile. Some guy pulled in. He said, "Man, I don't have much. This is all I got in cash. Here you go." And I was just like, "Oh, thanks. Okay, that's cool. Just make sure you get home safe. Take care of that stuff, that sort of thing."
So, any cute girls?
Well, funny you mentioned that. No, in fact, that BMW that I was mentioning, it was the girl that popped out of the car first. Can you help us?
Oh, God bless you. I'm glad that BMW got stuck. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, yes, I can. I can help you.
Well, yeah, baby, I can help you a lot. So that's great. And it does make you feel like a hero when you can help people out. And it doesn't have to just be in your Jeep. Oh, you did mention that you and some friends were out running around. So there was actually a couple of Jeeps at least. And I was just thinking that's a pretty good deal because maybe I'm looking at the glass half empty here, but you could actually line yourself up for a Jeep jacking or a robbery in those situations. So having a buddy with you off-road can be just as important as a buddy with you on road. You never know when you might get stuck too, Well,
that's why I'm a big proponent of not wheeling alone. And even just going out in, tooling around the neighborhood in the snow, looking for people to help out. You're being a good Samaritan. You've got nothing but the best intentions involved, but something could happen, and you don't know what that something could be. You could have a failure of a part on your Jeep. You could get caught on some ice or in some ice, or worse, end up getting in a wreck or something like that, or getting out of control. Whatever. There's a million possibilities of things that can happen that can go wrong. And it's always best to have somebody there with you, or, in your group, that if, you need to be extracted yourself, or you run across a rig that maybe is a little bit past your winch's capabilities or something like that, you've got a team there of people that can get together and help out and end up making a better situation.
Exactly. And now for a disclaimer. Jeep Tips is for entertainment purposes only. If you choose to follow these tips, man up and take the responsibility for your own actions. If you cannot, or you feel that working on your Jeep is beyond your abilities, seek the help or advice of a trained, certified mechanic. So we're going to take a moment here and bring you up to date on our iTunes and Stitcher reviews. We were fortunate enough to get another Stitcher review, so now we've got 2. Come on, people. I know some of you people are listening on Stitcher. It doesn't take but a moment to go over there and give us a stinking review. And when I say stinking, I mean 5-star, excellent review. So we do want to recognize a new Stitcher review that we got. Josh, go ahead.
Oh, you would have to put me on this one.
I can read it. I'm ready. I'm just don't want to hog up everything.
No, well, I did the lion's share of the talking there for a minute there. Well, the name, Woason. I'm sure I'm butchering it. Maybe it was a typo. I have no idea. In any case, we get a 5 out of 5-star review from this person on Stitcher. Says, best Jeep talk show out there. I love tuning in to hear great Jeep tips and tricks. Thanks, guys. Really appreciate it. So big thanks out there to Woason. I'm sure
that's right.
Maybe it's Wason. Woson. Geez, I don't know. I'm butchering it. I'm sorry about just completely butchering your name. Hopefully that doesn't happen again.
Yeah, but really it isn't our fault because that's not an American name.
In any case, I can barely read my own name, let alone somebody else's. So
fuzzy little foreigners. No, we love everybody.
Absolutely. So keep those Stitcher reviews
coming in,
Tony.
Guys.
And this is Josh from the XJ Talk Show. We want to thank you for calling our 24/7 voice line.
Yes, we do. Just leave your first name and your question or comment.
There's no guarantee, but we may play your message on the podcast.
Oh, and don't worry about keeping it clean. We'll take care of that.
Now it's your turn to speak at the beep.
Hey, this is Nikki G. I just saw something that tickled me, and I thought I'd share it. It's snowing here in south central North Carolina, it only snows like twice a year, and this is our second this year, so I think we're probably done for it. But I'm driving into work today, and I see a Wrangler on the side of the road. All kinds of mud kicked up, so I assumed he slid off the road and got stuck. So as I'm pulling over to offer my assistance, I see that he's not really stuck, but he's winching a Mini Cooper out of the brush. Which, that just made me laugh. See a little tiny Mini Cooper on a Jeep. So Jeeps 1, European Auto 0. Take that, Farvig Nugent. All right, gentlemen, I'll chat you later. Goodbye.
Oh, nicely done, Nicky
Hey, guys, this is Kyle. I'm just calling to tell you guys I love the show and saw myself at the Chicago Auto Show this weekend. Unfortunately, the line was too long. I couldn't get up there and test drive one of those 2014 Cherokees and drive it off the side of the mountain they had that you could drive it over there, but be one less to worry about. But keep up the great work.
We have somebody that wishes to do ill to a 2014 Cherokee, but we have absolutely nothing to do with it.
Well, can you blame him?
Hey, this is Nikki G. I don't have much time to talk today. They're predicting snow for North Carolina, and as you know, it's a Southern tradition. Whenever they say the S word, we have to run out, crowd the streets and buy all the bread and milk we can get our hands on. Apparently, nothing says shut in for the winter like French toast. All right, guys, I will chat you later. Have a good one. Bye.
I posted the other day because I was watching some of my northern friends there on Facebook posting about that exact same thing. You got to go out and get the milk and bread. And I went, what do you make with milk and bread? It seems like a big milky white dough. And French bread, of course. That makes perfect sense. French toast. I'm sorry, not French bread. French bread's something totally different.
Hey, I meant what you knew.
Well, guys, sorry about the screw-ups that we have here tonight, but, I really do need another screen because I'm trying to pull up the show notes, and it's like I'm trying to talk and do two things at the same time. I'm bad enough just talking.
Yeah, I was going to blame it on me needing not another screen, but maybe another couple hours of sleep. And so my apologies, guys, for talking over Tony a couple times and for obviously a little bit of some technical difficulties and stuff. Next week, I'll be rested up and ready to go.
Yep. Well, that happens, and I think everybody understands this isn't a professional deal. Just a couple of guys with Jeeps talking about Jeeps. Yeah, that's right. And having a good time. So we hope you are too, and we do appreciate all the kind reviews and you being here for the live show. We appreciate our live viewers tonight. I hadn't had a chance to read the comments, but I do read them after the show. I just got too many things to do here, Josh. Am I whining enough? Do you guys feel bad?
Well, you are over there at the xjtalk.com command center, so you definitely have your hands full. And guys, you guys can have some fun and get in on the action too. Please give us a call on our 24/7 voicemail line at 530-675-4102. We'd love to hear from you, regardless of your state of mind. So please give that a call, and make sure you guys are joining us, finding us on Facebook and Twitter as well, Stitcher Radio, of course, iTunes as well. Make sure you're heading over there and giving us a 5-star review. And of course, subscribe to us on YouTube. Really easy to find there. Make sure you subscribe and please comment on our videos. And of course, you can find our entire show archive over at xjtalkshow.com.
Yep, don't be a stranger at xjtalk.com. We love new members. We've been getting a lot of them. Hey, you guys, we've been reaching out to you, always wanting you to come and fill this third seat on the show. We recently asked some folks on Twitter if they'd like to be doing a Wrangler audio segment for us, and somebody's reached out and said yes, a big yes. So we haven't got it ready yet, but I think it's going to happen. So we may be having some more Jeep Wrangler information for you guys coming up on future XJ Talk Show podcasts. So
looking forward to it.
Yeah, don't miss it. We're looking forward to this, guys. We really are. I want to thank all Jeep owners for watching our show. So until next week, you guys have a great Jeep week, and keep it safe out there. Okay, guys, that's the show. I'll switch back over to the to our video, us live. Yeah, I could tell you were a little tired there. I didn't. I could only see it in your face, though, not in what you were doing or how you were talking.
Oh, my tongue feels like it's twice the size it normally is, and I'm obviously having a hard time putting coherent sentences together.
Well, I was willing to jump in there and help out, but you get in kind of a roll, and I start talking over you to try to wedge myself in there. So,
and of course, I'm not on point with my timing, so I end up talking over you too, and it just ends up being a hot mess.
Oh no, it's not that bad. It's little things like that happen. I started to hit the button to stop it, and I thought, no, I'll just go on. And I think what happens with Skype, it kind of mutes the audio coming back to whoever is talking. So I think you don't hear it. It's really loud to me, and I go, surely he can hear that. And I think that it's whenever you pause and what you're saying is when you can hear that there's something else going on.
Yeah.
And I think it'd just be plain rude for me to hit the mute button and mute you.
Smash. Well, no, I honestly, at times like that, when you've got something queued up and you're hovering over the play button, I actually would expect you to mute me. If it's, if I'm not on point with my timing and there's a second and a half gap and I feel like, okay, we're on the verge of dead air.
Mm-hmm.
I need to interject something, even if it's just a quick comment or agree or yeah, do this or yeah, do that, or I agree or whatever. I feel like I got to do something. So I'll throw in a quick quip and sure enough, here comes the audio and it's like, oh, geez, oh, got to put on the brakes.
Well, you know what we might want to do? Trying to think. If we were in the studio together, I could raise my hand or something. And that's kind of the problem. We don't have a producer or anybody or even just us be able to do hand signals. We're on the camera. I don't know. Maybe there's something I can come up with. I still need to do that clock for the show clock, and maybe I could put a little something on there that would be not a red light, but a red, little thing that would blink that I could hit something on the keyboard and it would just signal to you that we're getting ready to go to a cut. Cause I don't know how else to tell you. I mean, all I can do is just do the prolonged pause, and I know what you mean. It's dead air, man. What can't have dead air? They'll fire us.
Yeah, that's right. That's old radio mentality. I can't help it.
No, you're absolutely right. I'm the same way. I would be in the exact same situation. I mean, you never know. You can't see me because I don't do audio. I mean, I don't do video to you. So you don't know. I could have dozed off or fallen out of my chair.
Tony, are you there?
Yeah. It's a sad day.
I was going to say the only way that we'd really be able to do that would be to have at least something similar to a real-time video feed between the two of us. And I don't know how much delay there is on Skype, but I don't want you eating up any more bandwidth than you have to by sending me a video stream. So
yeah, that's why I'm thinking that clock thing with a little button or something on there, because sometimes we don't have time to type things, but just hitting a button to indicate that there's going to be a pause.
I'm wondering if maybe we do one of those things where it's like, okay, synchronize your stopwatch and now, and we both have, like a stopwatch app on our, my camera's not going to grab it, but we have a stopwatch app on our phone or something like that. And instead of having something on the screen, maybe it's just, an external device and we use our smartphones to have a clock between us. And it'll be within a half a second or so if we time it right.
Yeah. I don't think I go longer than 5 seconds between whenever the music plays, and I'll hit the record button and I'll make sure that the thing's blinking. I mean, not blinking, and then the music comes on. So you probably would be within 5 seconds if you start your timer when the music starts.
Yeah, I was going to do that this evening to get the intro down pat, but I'm not firing on all cylinders, and so by the time I thought about it, I was like, oh crap, the music's been playing for a good 10 or 15 seconds already. Oh, well.
Well, I don't have a problem with us skipping the promo this week.
Okay. I don't have a problem with staying here for another 10 or 15 minutes and us doing it either.
Well, go ahead. I mean, I'm fine with it. I'd like to keep the numbers up, and if nothing else,
we're on a excuse me. We're on a fairly good roll, and we have a fairly decent amount of consistency rolling now with these releases. And I got to apologize being behind on getting some of these recordings and promos and intros and stuff up. I've got 3 or 4 projects here that are completely uncompleted.
I like that. I liked that. That was good. I liked that a lot.
God, we better hurry up and get this promo done. I'm going to be just horrible here in a second.
It was completely uncompleted, and that's with a M.
God.
People are like, what the hell does that mean?
It was pretty bad at work today because you get to that point of where you're sleep deprived and you get a little campy. And so, I'm laughing at stuff that, really wasn't all that funny, and I'm making jokes that weren't all that funny. And it wasn't pretty.
Oh, speaking of which, I just knew you were going to use that bad joke that Brass Cats posted.
Oh, which one?
There was a man that had the entire left half of his body removed. It's okay, though. He's all right now.
Oh, jeez.
This just in. Man has half his body removed. Man has left half of his body removed, but it's okay. He's all right now.
Oh, see,
I just knew I was going to hear that bad joke. With the Energizer Bunny, with the cops not having anything to go on.
I kind of like that kind of humor.
I do. It's corny. I like the corny stuff.
Yeah, the corny, the punny. I really like that kind of stuff.
The stuff where people go, they smile and go, "Oh no!"
It's a good groan.
Yeah. Quit talking and start typing.
Yeah, I'm on it.
Let's see. I'll do my job, which is to sit here and look pretty. Wave, snow jerker, wave,
winch jockey.
Hey, there you go. Trying to think. There was some interesting things that have happened this week. I told you about Audrey and her snake phobia. And I thought about something absolutely horrible that I can only leave to your imagination with a set of stick-on little eyes. The
googly eyes, those
yes,
type of things.
Yeah, but small ones, so they would go on a snake-like object.
I'm following.
Banana, cucumber, something like that. Nothing scarier than fruit and vegetables. Speaking of which, I've been my youngest daughter turned 19 last week, and on the 8th, and for her birthday wish, she wanted broccoli and cheese soup, and that has chicken in it. So we don't actually say the chicken, but it has chicken in it. My wife makes a huge pot of this stuff. So just like when she makes chili, there's stuff left over for a good 5 days. And that's eaten at breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So the chili I can't handle that much of because it starts messing me up.
Oh yeah, I bet.
But the broccoli cheese soup, I just love broccoli cheese soup.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah, so I've been eating a lot of broccoli cheese soup, and I don't know why they say broccoli's good for you, because the smell that comes out of you after you've eaten it is not a good smell. It's a bad smell. It's a smell that you want to warn people at work that you weren't thinking, you were just concentrating on the computer and should not come to this area for the next 15 to 20 years. It's like Chernobyl.
Get one of those tents over the house like they use for fumigation and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. And a nice ignition source so that you can burn that stuff off. So I can't remember. I think we went about an hour and 6 minutes.
Oh, that's pretty good.
Yeah, I was trying to get it cut down to an hour. I noticed that I don't think that our audience is getting tired of us, but I think that maybe based on the stats, the longer shows are kind of rough on people. I think that the hour-long show's great. The hour and 20 minutes, the hour and 30 minutes, it's kind of like the Monty Python skit that won't end, which I personally like, but not everybody likes Monty Python. Well, guys, we're going to record our little promo and let Josh go to Betty by, and hopefully he will sleep all night long tonight.
Yeah, I will.
And have a very good Friday. I'm getting to work a half a day tomorrow since we have to move somebody into a new office this weekend, Saturday. It's probably only going to be about half a day's work, so not that big a deal. So looking forward to that. My wife and I are celebrating our 22nd anniversary tomorrow, and I'll be hopefully I will not come home and go to sleep. Hopefully I will come home and take her to get something to eat, which is great because you know how things are on Valentine's Day. You can't get in anywhere. So yeah,
we have a tradition here on our anniversary and on Valentine's Day, which are a good 4 or 5 months apart. we treat ourselves to a 5-star restaurant.
Mm-hmm.
And I started calling around in December to start booking a reservation for Valentine's Day. And all of our usual haunts were booked up already, which
gosh.
was I hadn't ever encountered that before. I mean, I've scheduled or called in a reservation as late as the 1st of February or so, and been able to get in. And whether that was a fluke thing, I don't know, because we hit a different spot every year, and so it's coming around now that we're having to go back to square one and hit some of the places we've been before. And so, calling up, I say, no, we're booked up. And I'm like, geez, really? This early? It's like, yeah, we've one place has been booked up since Thanksgiving. Unfrickin' real. Cannot believe that. So we ended up still getting into a nice place. I very much look forward to it. So I'm gonna be treating myself tomorrow evening with some very yummy food.
Surprisingly, the Olive Garden is hard to get into over here. I think it just happens to be the area that we're in. There's a lot of restaurants, a lot of good restaurants. I wouldn't call them 5 stars. I think we've only been to one 5-star restaurant since we were. I'm not sure if we were dating or if we were married at the time, but many years ago, and it was. I think it was $100. I think I took $120. For 2 people, and they actually had it was dinner and a show. Literally, they had people singing and doing dancing and stuff
at Olive Garden.
No. The only 5-star that I think we've ever been to, and I don't know if it's 5-star. It was swanky hootie faluti type thing, and right. So this would be back in like the early 90s, like maybe 90, maybe even 90 or 89. So. I took $120 cash with me. It was cash only. It was called the Great Caruso was the name of the restaurant. And they had, they had people that, sang and danced, while you sat at the table, and, beautiful surroundings. And, so this was some time ago, and, we ate well. I didn't say, you got a lunch menu for the evening or anything. But I took $120 with me, figuring that everything would be around $100, and I'd take a little more so I'd have left over for just in case. I walked out of there with $0.
Oh my!
After tip and everything, so it was a good night. I mean, don't get me wrong, but it was like, wow. We were both, wow. Can you believe how much that cost? Anyway,
go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I was just going to say, anyway, like I was saying, guys, I have a tendency to say, well, we're leaving and then not leave. So we're going to get finished with this promo and let Josh get out of here. Thank you very much for joining the live show. If you're watching us on YouTube, consider, maybe taking a nap on Thursday evening and getting up at 10 p.m. Central and coming and watching the show and joining in on the fun live. You certainly won't hear any of this pre and post show. For some of you, you might be grateful. I don't know, but anyway, have a great week, and we'll see you next week, hopefully.